When we learn about what redlining looked like in the 1930s and 40s and 50s, we don't really see the after effects told. We talk about the initial type of discrimination that happened then. But then what happened was this movement of populations from the city center towards the outskirts of the city. People had to sort of find other places to live. And this is one of the places, this neighborhood was one that a lot of African American people moved to after those neighborhoods were kind of disassembled.
The very first time I kind of peeked in the windows, it was clear that the building has a story.
What I've learned in this process is what an important role as a social center barbershops are in the Black community. And so Harlan and his family moving to this neighborhood among other people who had also been kind of moved to this area, there's this sense of a connection.
More so than anybody I've ever met, he kind of lives this idea of a barbershop or a building, any kind of building, really serving as the center of community.
The cultural significance of the building really was the kind of the driving factor in the designation of the site ultimately as a local landmark.
We're so fortunate in Des Moines to have a local landmark designation. That designation unlocks the possibility for state historic tax credits as well as federal historic tax credits. A lot of projects like this would not be able to happen without those historic tax credits.
Last year, the city also adopted the Historic Preservation Plan. So this all came together very beautifully in terms of aligning it with the adoption of the plan, which centers equity and inclusion at the very center and looks at also cultural resources and cultural importance and significance of a certain structure and not just the architectural significance.
The project that ultimately came here, really drew us in was the quality of design, attention to historic detail, and I think what was interesting about this RFP in particular was an openness from the neighborhood and the city to a wide variety of potential uses, because this property had been vacant for so long that the potential vision could go a lot of different ways.
One of the big efforts was trying to figure out how to tell the story of the barbershop through the architecture.
What I really love about the way Steve did this restoration of the floors is he left shadows showing where things had been if they had to be moved.
You can see kind of behind me the trim piece there that goes along the ceiling that sort of represents the drop ceiling that was in the barbershop.
It's important to support these types of projects because it reflects on the story of the community. And really, Des Moines is more than just what you see, today.
Sometimes the important history that happens in our buildings happens in sort of more humble kind of buildings like this that have a really important social and people story to tell.